This is episode 310 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I'm your host, Dion Morales, and today I'm joined by Will. Look at the size of that thing, Hegwin.
That was me coming into St. Louis, looking at that arch looming over the city.
Ryan, I have enhanced my travel capabilities.
Yes, I have been granted a enhanced license, so I can therefore now invade Canada.
Oh, snap. He's going to Canada.
Yeah, technically Mexico, but that's only by land or sea, and that's a much longer drive.
True. And James, shatter this, Ritter.
I've been enjoying getting a couple demo games of Shatterpoint this weekend. Having a lot of fun.
It's fun stuff. I know one of my friends, one of my buddies, Chris Kuzmanoff, who's a great painter. He keeps sending me the updates of like the models. He's like, "Would you like me to paint this for you? Would you like me to paint this for you?" It was like it was all just like really cool models. He sent me the Inquisitor set. Is that the most recent one they spoiled? That looks pretty sweet. Not gonna lie, that looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think Inquisitors, I think it's the Jedi Hunters is that pack. Mm-hmm. I think it's one of the most recent that they've started to give details on.
It's pretty schwanky. Want. Anyway, what are we talking about today? Well, we did have two events over the weekend. As we start getting into the summer, as the sun begins to shine across these United States of America and the rest of the Northern Hemisphere, and as the Southern Hemisphere heads into the darkness of winter, we're going to start getting more events that are happening here. The store championships as well as other local events. We're super excited to start breaking these down. By the way, I did have somebody send me a message yesterday, I believe, asking, Dion, if we want you to come to our store championship, will you come? And the answer is, if we can make it happen, sure. Here's the most obvious things, right? If you want us to be there and you can have our team stay with a local, or you can provide a hotel, that is a huge burden, huge cost that we don't have to worry about. That would be massive. And every other any other help that you can provide does help us stretch the budget. We'd like to, obviously bring you guys as much live X-Wing as possible, but we have limitations. We do. So we go ahead, reach out, and we'll see what we can do. If we can do it, obviously we do have a bunch of events happening in the Chicagoland area as well, and up in Michigan. And how do you have some scheduled around Utah, James?
I don't think any store champions yet. I think there may be one on the 20th, but I've already got previous plans for that day.
Wrecked.
So I know I was
way to have a social life.
I know that's terrible. So that may be a store championship. I'll have to double check. Cool.
Alrighty, well, we're going to go ahead and just break down some events, and the reason we're going to be doing this, of course, even though they're both of these are community events, for two different reasons. First, the Richmond Open was kind of like your standard event, but it's going to start giving us some data going into that store championship season, and the Midwest Scrubdown, which Will and Nick did a wonderful job streaming this weekend, was an extended event, just to remind you, hey, you can, play a tournament however you want. And there was over 40-ish people there, Will, something like that?
Yeah, just over 40, 42.
Yeah, so you can just shenanigans X-Wing too. I guess that's good fun as well. So here we go. Ryan, I'm going to toss it to you. Which one do you want to do first? Which one do you want to hit first?
Let's do Richmond Open.
Richmond Open, let's hit it. All right. Click the
that
button.
One, as in the name, was in Richmond, Virginia.
What?
I guess there's technically other probably Richmonds in the United States and the world, but it was in Richmond, Virginia. Mm-hmm. And Richmond Open has been a thing for at least 1 to 2 years.
I think this is the second running of it. We were at the first one. We couldn't make this one.
I think the first one mistakenly was put on Memorial Day weekend. Everyone's like, I already got plans.
Yeah.
So they're like, wait a minute. Let's do this on close to Star Wars weekend, early part of May. So a much better turnout this year, even though it still ended up being about 26 is the final number I'm seeing here on the list. Mm-hmm. It's way better than 12. I think they had last year. It was pretty low.
That plus 100%.
Yeah. And in this event, they got a store champ kit for it. So there was a singular Worlds invite out to the eventual winner.
Oh, we didn't know that. I didn't realize that they were able to get a hold of a store championship kit. So this is the first store championship essentially that we are reviewing.
Yes, and it seems like there's a couple of these type of events that they're not stores, but they're not like full convention regionals, but they want to provide a Worlds invite or something akin to a kit that's available. So, however the kit was acquired, whether it was under the store that maybe was sponsoring this event or whatever it may be, they got a store champ kit to help support the prize. Plus, I assume other additional prizes they already had in mind, because the store kit before Richmond Open was announced a while ago to still happen this year. Store kits were not known to be available or pre-ordered. So, actually, I believe Chris Allen was event organizing this as well. So didn't take him long to jump right back into event organizing, even right after Worlds and everything he had to do there. So this was kind of a similar idea of a lot of Swiss rounds and a smaller cut. If I look at the rounds and pairings tab, we actually ended up having 6 rounds of X-Wing. They did 4 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. If they were mathematically eliminated, I don't know what the cutoff was, but they had some type of cutoff similar to day 1 and day 1B of Worlds, where we had if you didn't get this many points, you're not admitted into playing into day 2 or day 1B or whatever we want to say it is. And then they played their 2 more rounds of Swiss and determined looks like a top 4 cut.
Yeah, it looks like they did a top 16. Looking at the numbers, looks like they did a top 16 cut to day 2.
Yeah, because they have it like grayed or blacked out at the bottom there.
Which is interesting because it's not necessarily elimination. Then you could lose your first round on day 2 and still get into the top 4 in theory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they did have a top 16. Looking at it, I mean, It was really where we're so used to that nomenclature, right? Top 16. We took 16 people who made the second day and were allowed. You were given permission to play the 5th and 6th round of Swiss.
Yeah, I guess which is like what Ryan was saying. I guess more akin to the day B Swiss that we had at Worlds, which looks like Chris was like, "Oh, I could just do that again, right?"
Yeah, easy.
That worked last time.
Well, I figured let's go ahead and break down at least the top 4. Take a look at what happened here. We can see that our overall champion was Duncan Howard. How do you know that? Well, you can see a little trophy next to his name right there. So let's find out what he brought here to the event. Go ahead and take it, James.
The winner, Duncan Howard, great job. Unknown commodity, has Darth Vader in the TIE X1. This is Man Vader, OG customizable Vader. I don't need a discount point. I want all my cool things. And he brought a lot of cool things. He has Brilliant Evasion, Elusive, Pattern Analyzer, Fire Control System, and Afterburners. So still gets that Afterburners and the Fire Control System, and gets a bunch of cool toys after it. Pretty interesting. I don't see Brilliant Evasion too often on Darth Vader, so that's a pretty interesting pick there. Maybe he just didn't. Is Hate more expensive? Hate's got to be more expensive than Brilliant, right?
He's valued. When I talked to him about how he came to some of the conclusion on this Vader, he really values Elusive because this Vader does like doing red moves with the Pattern Analyzer, utilizing Vader's ability, and because you're utilizing Vader's ability more as an action generator, the Brilliant Evasion can help those times to less need to spend multiple force on defense.
Gotcha.
But mostly he liked the base kit of Elusive, Pattern Analyzer, and Fire Control Afterburners. He just ended up with 2 points and a 4 slot. And he's like, I'll throw Brilliant in there.
Yeah, I know Will and I talk pretty often about we usually don't spend our Elusive if we can help it, if I don't have a focus mod, which that Brilliant Evasion helps out with that. You always have like a quote unquote free focus mod in there. So pretty cool. We also have Soontir Fel, the Ace of Legend, with Crackshot, Predator, and Shield upgrade. Both of the Bullseye abilities there, and a Shield upgrade. Shield upgrade fit perfectly there. Pretty. It's got a pretty ballsy to bring Soontir Fel to an event like this, but did so well with it. I think had how many losses did he end up having in the
One
event?
overall.
One loss, and that was to Psych.
Which was the eventual person in the finals. So it was
Yeah.
the curse of the Swiss in the final.
Oh, love that. And then to round out the list here, we have Moff Gideon and the TIE Fighter with elusive contraband cloaking device. Pretty standard Moff Gideon, handing out those strain to friendlies to ensure that the target that someone is attacking does not mod their defense dice. So with Darth Vader and Soontir Fel out there, could be pretty helpful to push through that damage and to crack through big tanks like Darth Vader Defender, where now you can't use any of your tokens. We also have Captain Farrow from the TIE Reaper with Seventh Sister, another known commodity, and pretty tricksy with that Seventh Sister, giving out jams or the tractors. So very interested to see how. I would be interested to see how he flew that Reaper with this list. That's much more of an ace list. If he kept it on the outside, maybe just coordinating, or if he did throw it in there and be a disruption tool.
You can do both. Depends on what you're facing.
Yeah, you can get one good pass. So, like, the Reaper can last for like one round for most fights.
I imagine you'd have to bring a ship in there for
like chance.
the Moff Gideon ability. You need a ship in range one.
Yeah.
So
just
probably
put Moff Gideon or Farrow there, either one, or just BI6 out of arc and not get shot anyway, so you can just take the strain yourself.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, Soontir's gonna do a blue, so you might as well take a strain that gets thrown away, right?
Soontir Fel.
And it is interesting, like the rounds where a Reaper comes in, does some stuff, and if it survives on like one hull, two hull, and just able to skirt away, it's like, hey, I did my job. I'm gonna go play objectives now. Bye. You just got to be there for the turns that matter.
Oh yeah, like coming in there, disrupting everything, getting some good blocks, and then running away on like 1 or 2 health is pretty demoralizing for the opponent. Like, he was so annoying, and then he just gets away for free.
One thing Duncan did change up, because a lot of people that use the cloaking device Moff Gideon opt for Notorious as the rest of the points. This Moff Gideon is probably one we haven't really seen loaded out this way, using Contraband and Elusive. We're seeing that Elusive again. Duncan had some times in Worlds where Gideon got popped, not on one shot, but like he wish he had Elusive, and most of the time when Gideon was being shot at, Gideon couldn't point his arc at stuff, or wasn't in a good position to do so in most of the time. So he didn't value Notorious as much because his arc wasn't being pointed at as many enemies. Gideon was just existing in the space he needed to. So a lot of times was either blocking or just off to the side because he just wants to provide his effect. But what he does like, along with Elusive, Contraband, not only after a bump focus allows him to do a wider variety of moves, but allows him to do some of those K turns and still get actions and point himself back into putting himself into Moff Gideon's own ability for either himself or just stop him from, kind of hobbling away, basically. You can stay cloaked and then flip yourself around and continue following an opponent's ship and just being the annoying Moff Gideon ability.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and take a look at the runner-up. So that was Psych J again. Revenge of the Swiss took out the good man out of the planning phase syndicate. Go ahead, take a look at that, Will.
All right, Psych had brought another Galactic Empire list. This one with the boy Darth Vader. We got boy Mauler, We have as well Juno Eclipse, Elusive Fire Control Cluster, Iden, Elusive Ion Cannon, and Vizier with Seven Sister and Captain Hark. So not Palp on that Vizier. Seven Sister, Force Point, we see it all the time on Feroth. And then Captain Hark can give you focuses when you do red maneuvers. Very interesting. With Vizier, you can ailerons coordinate and then stop and then get a focus through Hark. So really adds some extra offensive mods to Vizier. I really like the Juno in this list. Going to be taking target locks anyways, and a great ship to coordinate. She can link either a focus or a target lock into a boost before she does her dial. So that's creates extra repositions for.
For anybody who doesn't remember that ability, by the way, after you perform an action, you may perform a red boost action.
Yeah, it's the only thing these Tide Vans ever wanted, which was to pretend to be an interceptor. Because she still has. Don't forget, we don't normally see Vader doing it, but the focus linked barrel roll as well as just comes standard on those X1s. So really has a lot of options for
like a lock boost barrel focus is pretty
yeah.
pretty gross for a ship like that, especially if you do take that procket, which we didn't see here, opted for the clusters, but that procket with the two different repositions and the focus lock is pretty deadly.
Yeah, Juno is a surprise hit for me at just 4 points. Man, can do a lot, but I think you always need some sort of coordinator, something either Palp or coordinate actions like we see here to help it out. Yeah, otherwise pretty standard pieces there. Though Mauler is tied to Darth Vader in this list, no backstabber for him. So it would be interesting to see how he ended up pairing these together, because you kind of had to keep Mauler, Darth Vader, and Iden all together. So I guess Juno could be your flanker there, along with the Vizier.
Pretty cool. So we had an Empire versus Empire final there at the Richmond Open. Let's go ahead and check out what some of the other lists were here in the top four. So we also had whatever this combination of letters is, Squadron bringing 4 U-Wings. That sounds like a lot of U-Wings. A lot of thickness here. We got Magva Yarrow, Cassian Andor, Benthic 2 Tubes, and Saw Gerrera. Magva with that pivot wing, Ursa Wren, the Child, and marksmanship. So able to control let me go ahead and pull up the list. I'm trying to remember the abilities here. So I believe Magva's ability is a defensive ability, and Ursa is an offensive ability. And then the Child, of course, regenerating the Force. Cassian able to help deal with stress, as well as carrying elusive to try to keep himself alive for a little bit longer. Perceptive co-pilot on Cassian. Kind of surprised there, but I mean, having multiple focuses, one for defense, one for offense, not a bad idea. It's probably going to be targeted when you're the one helping others out with stress. And if you're not getting targeted, probably Benthic is getting targeted, who's out there helping out with that Jyn Erso, being able to convert focuses, or one focus to evade, maybe doing some shenanigans, helping out that perceptive co-pilot Cassian Andor, and also passing tokens around. And Saw Gerrera having that offensive ability, just trying to hit a little bit harder with that pivot wing, Leia Organa, to help control some dials on that triple turn. You can do 3 turns in a row of stopping, right? Stop, and then stop, and then clear stress with somebody. So I think one person can go 4 times, if I'm not mistaken, if you really want to try it.
If you have the contraband, so that just, I think, is Saw, you could do it 3 times in a row.
Dirty.
Red stop, white stop, red stop while stressed.
As long as Cassian keeps pulling stress off, someone could just do
that's
it
true.
infinitely.
Infinite stop.
Yeah,
Stop
true.
forever.
With K2SO crew around, Cassian might be trying to help pull friends' stress that got the calculate from K2SO also.
That's true. That's true. Good
yeah,
stuff.
I do like the combination there of the child, Ursarin, and Magva Jarl. Ursarin got changed towards a target lock action, but it's only when someone acquires a lock, an enemy acquires a lock on you
Yeah.
now.
On
So
a friendly.
with exactly. So the child gives out free target locks on Magva to proc Ursarin automatically. So if you and you can't even use the lock. You can only reroll one die when you spend it on
that's
against
the
Magma
real
anyways.
that's the real spicy
It's
sauce there.
disrespectful.
I feel
It
like
ma-
that's the base kit for Magva. Just child,
No,
Ursa
it's-
Ren. Two
It's
moms
very
protecting the
good.
child.
Yeah, it just disincentivizes you from shooting it, which means that buff can stay around even longer.
Yeah,
And
and
so if you-
Ursarin still works on when you shoot her friends too, so she still
Locker
gets.
friends.
Yeah, sorry, when you lock her friends. Thank you. So she's still getting those locks whether you're shooting her or not, or targeting her or not.
Yep. So if you're looking at this list, I feel like it's either Benthic or Magva are the two first U-Wings you got to take off the board. I think it's Benthic if you can. That Gen Urso is so important for that list.
And the pass, even if like Jin was somehow taken out and it's just Benthic, him passing a focus to someone who's getting shot twice or is taking some extra heat or needs an extra token on offense, taking out Benthic is like huge.
Creates a scenario to where once you hurt a U-Wing, it just all of a sudden has 2 evades now, or 3 evades in Cassian's situation. Good luck.
Yeah, Cassian is not the one to shoot first.
No, I
No,
think
please, shoot me.
Cassian is, I mean, they're all the same cost, so there's no like cost difference of like you just need to figure out which one hurts and affects your list or the game and hurts your win condition as the opponent more. And I think Benthic and Magva are definitely the top two. Cassian is probably the least incentivized one. He doesn't do anything offensively or defensively, just helps pull his stress. He doesn't have anything amazing like double modded offense or anything unless he's hurt, which if you're shooting at him to the point where he's hurt to have Saw Gerrera's ability active, you're probably already choosing the wrong target.
I know. Whenever I've seen 4 U-Wings across the table, you just kind of have like a. All right, let's.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle.
I want it to be fun because I think U-Wings are a really cool ship.
Yeah.
But how they work in the game,
Yeah.
it's a drag.
Just
drag.
outflank them. What's wrong?
Just
Get on their.
Just outflank the things that can just helicopter there. Sure, whatever.
Just get behind
that
them.
is one of the keys, though. You have to spread out your forces in a way that makes them turn more to keep their agility at 1 as often as possible and make them guess which way they need to point because they're all lower initiative. So
Or come at from like different angles as well. Different angles will like really mess with them.
yeah, no, yeah, you, like this list could have a tough time with like kind of one of the larger prominent archetypes. The Django, Grievous, Dirge plus Thing. Those are all very independent. They can all spread out. One of them's going to die because the U-Wings are going to decide to look at something. Or if they don't all look at something, they're spreading their fire and it's probably not enough.
Yep. 4 U-Wings. Tasty.
Don't play him in Assault.
You set down 4 U-Wings in Assault, or somebody does it across the table. You go,
Hey, win.
you want to go get lunch real quick? You want to go get a snack? All right, we got one more here, Ryan. We got this Republic list. Tell me about it.
So I think we actually saw a variation of this in Worlds do better than expected. This is well, let's start with the easy part. We have Anakin in the Delta 7P. Shocking in Republic. This is the shield upgrade R4P17, so your pattern analyzer droid, crack shot variant. commonly seen in the what Fawn Longlon continued to use, what Duncan sort of started, which was the Anakin, Obi, Contrail, Lat. But in this list, we are going down the ARC train. And so Duncan was telling me he got paired up against this list in the cut. He's like, oh, it's Anakin 3 SOC ARC. In my brain, I'm like, oh, it's like my list from Worlds. It's Anakin 3 Siege of Coruscant ships and an ARC. Like, no, it's 3 Siege of Coruscant ARCs. So yes, there's more than 2 of them. There's technically 3 for people who didn't really pay attention to any ARC 170 that wasn't 4 points after Siege of Coruscant. There's Oddball, who has an additional shield, who has Selfless, which is actually pretty good in the Republic list, that you do not want your ARCs to take crits, to try and keep those on shields for as long as possible. It's great for salvage. I actually think more Rebel lists should be using Selfless, but not many Rebel lists have many good options right now, so that's another thing. Oddball's got Veteran Tail Gunner like all the other ARC 170s. He's got R4P, just like Jag does, so you can spend a charge during the game and do one of your basic maneuvers. Can be one more less difficult. So the 4th straight can be white, 3 turn can be white, any of the whites can be blue. But the other part that a lot of people don't fully recognize is his ability is different. After you fully execute a red maneuver or perform a red action, you could choose a friendly ship at range 0 to 3 and an enemy ship at range 0 to 1. That chosen friendly ship gains a lock on the enemy. So Oddball isn't just trying to get locks only for himself. He's sharing that around. He can do it to himself too, because it's range 0 to 3. He can do it to Jag, he can do it to Wolf, he can do it to Anakin as well, which is big, because Anakin in this list doesn't have Predator like some of the variations have. Like his re-rolls from the lat we normally get used to seeing aren't there. They could be provided by Oddball in a fully lock, bullseye, crack shot, 3-force, focus, whatever Anakin. Pretty dangerous to start off with, when Oddball could just give that ship that lock. Because Wolf and Jag have really good synergistic ways to have their own locks as they are. It's pretty much, to me, either just for Oddball or for Anakin as like the top 2 candidates for Oddball's ability for that lock. Maybe Wolf, because Wolf Pack can trigger off of Siege of Coruscant. Actually, yeah, it wouldn't even matter for Wolf. Wolf could just use the lock from Oddball if he wanted anyway. So really is like, it is very cool that Oddball's ability can be used squad-wide, essentially. But you do need to pick an enemy ship at range 0 to 1. So you do need to fully execute the red move or perform red action. So Oddball doing the red move or the barrel roll can set up
focus bump.
Or bump focus, yeah.
Which is
0 to
like
1.
Yeah, 0 to 1, yeah.
Yeah, so either Oddball's painting a lock for Wolfpack on Wolf to use, or like, here, Anakin, I bumped into something. There's a lock.
Yeah, the dream would be giving a lock to Anakin, or a bump focus, give the lock to Anakin, Oddball shoots, Jag takes a lock from that shot, Wolf shoots, uses Jag's lock, and then Jag gets a lock again on that ship.
Yeah, because it's inside. That's the perfect setup.
That would be the dream. But I know it's a lot more. I know it's like a little bit of that. I think Will was saying like the perfect scenario never happens in a game. But with so many different triggers and Jag helping out Wolf so much, it's definitely possible.
A lot of double modded. What's funny is I think about this, and both of those lists that were in the top 4 but didn't get to the final are both very medium base heavy lists. If the first round of the cut would have been Assault, we could have had a completely flipped final.
That's true.
It depends on how fast those Empire ships can burn through these chunky arcs.
Yeah, definitely no guarantees, but those other lists with the U-Wings and the arcs heavily weighted on Assault.
All right. Well, that was our top 4 of the Richmond Open. Congratulations to what I believe might be the first tour championship winner, at least that I know of, Duncan Howard, punching his ticket to Worlds already. Did it early. Got his hands on that top prize. Now we're going to go ahead and move over to the Midwest Scrubdown. Now, this event, quite different in its scope. Will, you were there live in person. Can you describe what was the rule set being used for the Midwest Scrubdown?
So the main difference was that it allowed extended ships, though it did enforce the ban list. So you can bring, we saw a lot of Lambdas. That was the ship of choice over the weekend. Though we did see some Shadowcasters. We tried to catch a bunch of extended ships on stream, including everything from IG 88s to Ketsu. We did get the IGs in the last
Nice.
show. We were clamoring for it. Never did get Mark's Benteen on stream, but still we saw a lot of extended ships for the event. Otherwise, they were playing 5 rounds, so then cut to top 16. So 8 players came back for day 2 for 4 more rounds, very similar to the Richmond Open there. And honestly, the event went great. Matt Carey was marshaling it, and then the local Midwest Scrubs were running the tournament. Even set up a side event for day 2. If you got knocked out but didn't want to leave right away, you could jump into the side event. So a lot of great games of X-Wing were played over the weekend. Though there is an unexpected ship, and an unexpected standard ship did make it to the final, but didn't end up winning it.
Ah, okay. Well, looks like our so one of the things, here's a question for you all. If you were able to play, what extended ship would you bring? Like, I know I would have brought a Shadowcaster, no doubt. Just putting it down right now. Shadowcaster would have instantly been in the list.
E-Wing or IGs?
Ryan,
Am I trying to win?
are you
Or am
trying
I
to
going
win?
for
No,
fun?
you're trying to have
You're trying to play an extended ship.
You're trying to play in this.
Okay, that's true. I'm not trying to win anyway if I play extended ship. I probably would have tried the 2 5-point resistance bombers, and I think whatever the 5-ship resistance list I put together, I was like, well, for fun, I'd do that.
Cool.
Those
All right.
bombers are 5 points.
There are 2 of them.
There's
for 5.
Cat and Ben are.
Cat and Ben. Cat Ben. Ben Cat.
Ooh, some people saying Echo, Redline, wanting to get some Phantoms and.
You know what? Yeah, I was actually super surprised. We didn't see a single Phantom, did we?
Yeah, people are bored
no.
of them, right? We don't need them back.
That's true. I
No.
think like they
We got enough of them
feel
in the past.
that exactly. They feel like they were a really competitive ship when they were around. Maybe people are just kind of tired. Like they don't have that same sparkle that when you say, "Hey, you can play all these ships again," you don't immediately go, "Oh, Phantom! I haven't seen you in such a long time." It's
Are they
kind of
are they still in 4 Phantom timeout corner?
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you can run 4 Imdars.
Well, just like
Actually-
the stigma. I guess the stigma around it.
Yeah, it's like that cousin that ruined Thanksgiving dinner that one year, but you still invite them over, but like every Thanksgiving after that's just kind of awkward. They're like that. That's where they're at. If you're that
Solid
person,
analogy.
you know.
Yeah, it's only the Imdars, and they don't have a talent slot, even though they got 6 points of loadout. No juke for you.
Wrecked. That's just a direct call out, basically. All right, well, let's go ahead and start breaking this down. Looks like our winner brought a standard list. This was James Stumbo of the Las Vegas Open.
I'm
no, you
seeing
gotta
the
look
trophy
at
much farther down.
Oh, wait, what? Oh, was there a cut?
the trophy.
was a cut.
Oh, there was a Okay, so, all right, this is going to be... So we have to actually go look at the pairings. Look at the final. Scoot. What'd you bring? All right.
Yeah. This is Will Scott. Actually, was the 16th seed going into the top cut.
He worked for it.
As long as you make day 2, right?
That's right.
You got a chance.
All right, well, go ahead. Break it down, Will.
All right, so this list has the similar ARC 170s, Wolf and Jag, the backbone of any jousting line for the Republic right now. Has Click and Contrail in customizable versions. Click utilizing proton bombs and the R3 Astromech. Every game started off locking the 2 arcs with the R3 Astromech. And Click to deny those range bonuses. Great for like opening shots. You can actually do damage at range 3 in like I said, the beginning rounds of combat. Mm-hmm. Then Contrail taking a interesting upgrade, Chopper and Crackshot in addition to the Best title, and also religiously took the Evade as soon as possible to start getting to the jam side of Chopper at I-5 and Contrail. It's fairly good maneuverability. Can really start debuffing ships to where they cannot take these actions. Contrail can even change your eyeballs as well, so can take away your target lock, your like offensive mods, and then debuff your defense as well between Crackshot and their ability. So really an interesting threat out there with the ability to jam. Then taking a different approach to Anakin, utilizing Ada Anakin with Trick Shot, Heavy Laser Cannon, the Crit Bot, and it's R7A7 and a shield upgrade. So I believe they said they got at least one 5-dice Trick Shot Heavy Laser Cannon attack. Well, we did see Anakin utilizing those trick shots to increase their regular 2-dice attack. Being with the system phase repositions, you can get really close to obstacles and then be able to barrel around them. So really easy to line up those trick shots and kind of hide. Did in each of the games we saw them play, Anakin stayed safe. Always found a great spot to distract with the arcs, and then Anakin would either coming from the open side, in one game even was sneaking down the neutral edge past the arcs as they kind of jammed up the initial engagement.
All right. Well,
Yes, I saw a couple games of this, and yeah, he was flipping those chopper charges like before he even finished his move. He was like quick to get rid of him. I think at one point I thought I saw that he flipped the chopper charge again. Like he did like a chopper and then did like a 5 straight and then choppered again. So even while stressed. So
he was stressed.
He was prioritizing getting rid of those. Charges to flip it over.
You really like Chopper, honestly. I miss the Anakins that were brave enough to take the Chopper instead of whatever they take now, Shield and Pattern.
Shield Pattern, yeah.
That's actually what I would have expected in a list composition like this. Is instead of Ada Anakin, it would have been the CLT Anakin with Chopper, like Nathan took to Worlds in top 8. And then it freed up Contrail to be more of your standard. Here's a bunch of crit generation with R7A7, Crack Shot, Proton Bomb. He can get his full kit across the board. And you put Chopper on, I think, a much more capable ship in Republic that synergizes better with Anakin Delta pilots. Delta 7, not 7B. Since 7B, 7 points it wouldn't fit, but Delta 7, 6 points CLT would work.
Yeah, even just the CLT versus a ADA with the chopper is a big difference, because you can do that reposition and then pass the token or pass the jam. So, and then Anakin takes it a step further with the evade, getting rid of the stress from the evade.
The combination of evade and the Born for this focuses you can get from the arcs does make Contrail very defensive in those opening rounds as well. So can do those fast maneuvers, go and take objectives, and start getting into range one of the enemy a lot sooner. And as I said, it did a great job putting pressure on their opponent to where they really didn't have time to find Anakin in the scrum.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to Scooter. So who was our other finalist? This
would be
Alex Bell. LaBelle? Question mark?
Lexi Bell.
Lexi Bell. Yes. And
another crazy list.
and there we go. We got some extended here. Lieutenant Sai. Go ahead, hit it, Ryan.
So we got Lieutenant Sai with Palpatine, Baffle, ST-321. So you're all around here's the most supportive Sai possible with a little bit of freedom on those red moves in the next turn. We have the sort of standard Iden with elusive ion cannon. We have Moff Gideon with no cloaking, opting for targeting computer, false transponder codes, which I have seen with cloaking, and then Marksman or Ruthless, but no, opted for Mag Pulse warheads. So I think Sai, when not coordinating who I'm about to get to, could be coordinating this Moff. Very jam heavy, basically saying, I'm not going to allow you to have any tokens, whether it's my ability, whether it's my lock, whether it's my missile I'm shooting you with, etc., etc. And then we have Darth Vader in the Defender, who has Malice, heavy laser cannon, elusive, and cluster missiles. So a little bit out of the norm, not having juke. But then there's this other thing that's plus other. There's this thing on the end. Looks like a config called TIE Defender Elite.
What?
Right?
Hold on, I gotta pull that card up, because I don't even remember what does that even do?
Watching Nick and Will try to read that card back and forth may have been the highlight of the event. Was just them wait, is that how that actually works? You just
All right, so it says, TIE Defender Elite, decrease the difficulty of your hard turn maneuvers, increase the difficulty of your K turns. Replace full throttle with the following: advanced fire control. After you perform a cannon or missile attack, if you have a lock on the defender, you may perform a bonus primary attack against the defender.
So think about this here. One, you have to remember that now the 3 turns are blue, the 2 turns and 1 turns are white, not red anymore, but your K turn is red, all of them now, and you don't have the free evades. So, but you have Sai with Palpatine with coordinating. Right, so you could still you don't lose your evade action. You could still take that as an action, but you don't get full throttle. You don't get white 4Ks.
Yeah, but you don't have to spend that lock either for that TIE Defender Elite like the B-Wings do.
Sure. So Vader, as we know, with just his force, gets insanely good offensive modifications. So him attacking twice is money at times. One of the interesting interactions you could get is, let's say, normally people think cluster missiles. Okay, how would this work? You can't get 2 bonus attacks in a round. That doesn't work that way. Well, here's one situation. You lock a ship who's at range 2. You get your 3 dice attack. And because it's not in a bullseye for HLC, whatever. you shoot your cluster missiles, and you get your 3-die attack, and then you have the chance to then you could do your cluster missile against another opponent, or you could shoot this. You may you could shoot the same ship. Let's say that ship was actually range 1.
Mm-hmm.
How about you take 3 dice, and then you take 4-die primary? 7 dice from Vader Defender. A lot. It's very scary. Or you could just, I'm gonna range 3 snipe something with HLC, and then I'm gonna range 1 this thing. 2 4-dice attack.
No, it's gotta be the same. It's gotta be the same target.
Oh, sorry, yeah, same target. Yeah.
But what's interesting about those clusters, if oops, I happen to destroy you, I'll take my bonus attack this round against your friend.
Oops, all direct hits. It's like, I guess I'll go to the next one.
Yeah, so pretty regularly getting those bonus attacks. And the heavy laser cannon doesn't work with malice, but great for stripping the shields off of something, so the primary does put the crit through.
Yep, the malice afterwards.
Yeah. And with if he does get in a good position where he's not taking a lot of attacks, that extra force from Palpatine is just like bumping up even more. So he can spend a force to change a blank to a hit, and then also use the Palpatine to spend a force to change that focus to a hit. So he's getting like almost consistently at least 2 hits on that first attack, and then mostly likely going to get 3 or 4 on that second attack after spinning the lock.
Yeah. Now, it has elusive, so actually partners kind of well with the fact that it does have it has a red 4K now.
Mm-hmm.
So you get elusive back easier with this ship. And not a lot of people are gonna, like, visually, you see Vader Defender. Not like people are gonna know, oh, with 4Ks. Red or not, it can still 4K. People are not gonna see the 2 hards and 1 hards. Like,
or the
that
3
is just
blues.
not encoded in their brain. Even if it's blue, not a big deal. Like, just the fact that this is a defender that can and will do a 1 or 2 hard willingly. It does not care. And people are assuming this thing is going to go fast. This thing is just going to do either thing it wants to do, fast or slow. It just wants to shoot you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to get size help and have Palpatine's help.
And more importantly, really, I think, is Moff's help.
And Moff
out-
Gideon's ability, or just
Yeah.
Moff Gideon locking stuff and getting false transponder codes, or there's
The dream of
I think-
Moff locking something to jam it, and then
being
or
at range 1 of it.
Yeah, so well, I guess Moff Gideon's got 2 charges, so you could just stop it on both attacks. And got 2 strain.
I think we did see that during the.
Moff Gideon
finale.
had like 3 strain on him at one point, trying to fly around, just begging people to shoot at him over Darth Vader.
Yeah, Sai did get burned down in that game though, pretty quickly, I think.
That's kind of what we saw. Lambda's getting lit up all day. I'll be honest with you. If they're not reinforcing, you're still a 1 agility ship out doing really slow maneuvers in the center of the board. So it happens. You try to get away when you can, but yeah, without reinforced, because Sai loves that coordinate. Gets focus lock from it. I mean, sounds pretty good.
Awesome.
Well, it is cool to see a Defender Elite used and to seemingly well synergized effect across the list. I still
love that Defender Elite.
I still have my reservations.
Canonically, I love the Defender Elite. Maybe not gameplay-wise.
No, Vader. I think Vader technically, like, I don't know if it's actually a Defender Elite, but Vader, I think when the Defender and him using it in books or comics or whatever, he says, I don't care about all this, like give me more guns, offense, angry. Yeah.
Like when... Yeah, I think that was like one of the few things that Thrawn and him agreed on was the Defender Elite. It was like, yeah, this thing is freaking cool, dude. Good job. Make more of these. And then all the funding went to the Death Star.
Sad. So I'm sure in the upcoming Ahsoka series, we'll just have like at least like a 10-minute rant of Thrawn being like, I bet the Empire would have been fine if it would have just
Oh, man.
defended.
Yeah, can you
Could
imagine?
we see? Could
If
we
Thrawn
see
was
a
around,
new defender in a
Yeah, Thrawn and like a souped up defender, an even more crazier defender.
yeah. So there are still
It's got
defenders.
4 wings.
Yeah, what if they just modeled like a new defender like?
Oh, it's just a circle.
Isn't-
It's a
isn't-
circle of all guns.
Isn't there the Legends craft called the Chiss Claw craft or something like that? That's like
That rings a bell.
defender-ish.
I don't know.
I don't know. Either way, I think it'd be cool if there was another new version or type of ship that Thrawn was like, I'm still making the best ship. They're gonna see it. I'm gonna come back with a vengeance.
There are still defenders floating around as late as like I think a couple years after Return of the Jedi, like maybe like 6 years because it was in one of the books. So they definitely still exist. So we could see a defender in these upcoming seasons of Mandalorian, or maybe even like Boba Fett or Ahsoka. Yeah.
I'm in. It's got shields. Let's go.
Count me in. It got shields.
Look, it's a ship that hasn't seen a lot of like toy capability merchandising wise. You make this ship look awesome in one of the TV shows, show up again, or like that Filoni movie that's supposed to culminate in all the Mandoverse stuff.
Yeah.
You make that show up and wreck some stuff. That's some money.
Oh yeah.
Got those defenders flying off the shelf. All right, let's keep it going here. Here's Canasti. Definitely how that's pronounced. One of our top 4 competitors. Go ahead, take it, James.
All right, just got to pull it up here. Everyone's out of order. All these crazy bottom seed to win event here. But it has a super. This is the 6th ship FO. Has 5 TIE FOs, and Whirlwind was the choice here in the TIE Whisper. That Whirlwind has marksmanship, elusive cluster missiles, advanced optics, and the enhanced jamming suite. I think Whirlwind is the jamming one where or that gets focuses for people looking at her.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, it gets a focus
When they engage.
When you engage, you get a focus for each person that has you in their front arc.
You can technically remove jam tokens. That's part of it, but that's never actually.
I mean, like if you needed to, like if you needed it for defense, for sure, and then you just get rid of it. So yeah. And of course, we have the usual crew for the most part here. We have Malorus with Magpulse warheads. Interesting choice that we're seeing more and more of. People are leaning away from the cluster missiles, leaning into that Magpulse for the jam, deplete, and crit. I have Lieutenant Gaelic with Proud Tradition Ion Cannon, handing out those coordinates when a friendly ship dies. Has Scorch in the Typho and the DT-798, both with the shield upgrade. Chooses the shield upgrade route instead of the more offensive upgrades there. I mean, 5 health Typhos are pretty great, especially for DT-798 where he's taking that strain. That extra shield upgrade could come in handy. And around out this one, we have Midnight. And this is the real secret sauce here. We have Swarm Tactics, Elusive Concussion Missiles, and Targeting Synchronizer. So bumping up probably Whirlwind with that Swarm Tactics, and using that lock from the Targeting Synchronizer to allow Whirlwind to shoot the cluster missiles at Initiative 6 before Midnight shoots using that Targeting Synchronizer. So a lot of munitions here. Oh, just a couple of munitions. We have the concussion missiles, mag pulses, and the clusters. But a lot of health here and a lot of agility. So every single one of these is 3 agility asterisk with the Whirlwind. So very, very defensive, and those extra shield upgrades can come in handy as well. Anyone have any other tidbits they want to add to that?
Just that we, me and Ryan disagreeing with the clusters, but I've seen it with clusters, and I actually clusters on Midnight and Malorus before, but you end up flying behind Whirlwind a lot, or the enemy is going right for the other trio of Scorch, DT, and uh, Gaelic. So you end up with long range shots as you're, like I said, kind of behind Whirlwind in a lot of engagements.
So actually, while I generally prefer cluster over Magpulse Malrus, I think in this list, I think that there's a specific key as to why, and that's because I think Midnight should carry the Magpulse, and Malrus should have the cluster missiles. Because with Midnight wanting to take a lock and keep it for targeting Synchronizer for Whirlwind's cluster missiles, basically Midnight doing the I6 move, painting the target, shooting the shot. Midnight's defender won't be able to use defensive mods in any capacity while they're locked. So it means Midnight can't spend the lock on offense, nor do they want to because it's also painting the shot for Whirlwind. So why not have your Magpulse be on Midnight, where you're just trying to do 1 damage? If they spend tokens, which they can't spend tokens. So, and it's red dice are more favored than the green, right? Just mathematically. So if it's natural 3 versus natural whatever greens, your likeliness to do 1 is more than not.
Yeah, it's like 55% or something like that. Yeah, it's just a little
and
bit
that one
favored to you.
being a crit, a jam, a deplete at I6, to me is more valuable to set up the rest of the squad.
And jam off that token they couldn't even use in the first place.
Exactly. Right. It's just
So-
massive disrespect.
So I could definitely see an argument made for that, and it also works at range 1, which is also very interesting. Because Midnight may be one of the few ships that may actually want to use that range 1 mag pulse.
Yeah, it's the same 3 dice, and conditionally
same 3
might
dice.
provide you more utility in that specific moment.
Yeah, the jam deplete could be very helpful to keep Midnight alive.
Now, the one thing I'd be curious, because there are quite a few people who've adopted this variation of first order list. One thing going up against it is they want to stick Midnight with Whirlwind, right? So unless the FO player has practiced some amount of I'm going to deploy Whirlwind here, but they're going to be pointing to the left or to the right or on a 45, and then they could go, and then Midnight can deploy a little bit further away if they wanted to, not make it obvious, and then go move to Midnight later. It's a little more taxing, I guess. It takes a little more setup. So generally, wherever Whirlwind deploys, just assume Midnight's going to be range 1 of them anyway. So the whole I6 deployment is going to be not as much I6 as it is I3. Because, yeah.
Yeah, well, Midnight's not really an ace out there anyway, trying to do AC things. But yeah, but that deployment advantage is nice.
Yeah, and when not having boost, I think it's more of an advantage to have Whirlwind and Midnight be kind of deployed in the middle, because I had caught someone who deployed Whirlwind and Midnight and Whirlwind on one corner of the board, and I said, I don't need to go over there, so I'm just gonna go over here and overload his forces on this side, unless he deploys everything on that side. And we'll just we'll work our way around. But if his ability in this list to work his way around, most things can't boost, and Whirlwind doesn't want to boost away from Midnight that often. So their speed of how they move around the board is very limited.
Yeah, taking away a lot of those synergies away from the enemy list.
It's definitely Doug Howe.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Dion, you're muted.
All right, so what you missed was me being excited about the fact that there was an Alpha Class Star Wing in this list. Complete fail on my part. My bad. Let's break it down. Here we go. So we start with Darth Vader, Battle of Yavin. We've already talked about him today. Obviously, he's a known commodity. Very, very good. We're jumping down to Moff Gideon, Ruthless Cloaking Device, False Transponder codes, and Targeting Computer. A little bit of a different loadout here. Ruthless likely being used against one Lieutenant Sai. 10 health out there. There's a lot of chunk to. Are they 8 health or 10 health? I'm forgetting. They're 8. Yeah.
How dare you? Forget.
Wait, are you asking for the gunboat or for the?
No. For the Lambda.
10. Yeah. 10.
10.
It is 10. All right, I doubted myself for a second. Okay, I just got to remember how much chunk is on those Lambdas. Quite a bit. And that's Lieutenant Tai carrying Emperor Palpatine and Electronic Baffle. And then in that Alpha Class Star Wing, coming again soon, according to Atomic Mass Games, we got Major Vinder, with that ability that says if he has a weapons disabled, gets an additional defense die. We have Ruthless Fire Control System, Plasma Torpedoes, Advanced Proton Torpedoes, Advanced Slam, and the OS-1 Arsenal loadout. And of course, that OS-1 allowing you to fire munitions when you have a weapons disabled token. Pretty awesome, but of course you're not able to spend your locks. That is the downside to
Fire
that.
control helps out there.
It does. You get a little bit of reroll. Not all the reroll. You get a little bit, but that's the shtick with Major Vinder, just being able to slam around and be like lock, and I try to kill you. And you can reload on this ship, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So you just keep flying it around and do it again.
So what's funny is Doug's in the chat. Doug says, "Man, I wish I ran Echo like I originally planned. Vinder was boring."
There was our Phantom.
Yeah, Echo is fun. Like the little bendy decloaks. That's fun.
Well, that was Doug's list. It was able to make it to the top 4, and man, I'm curious with the re-release of the Alpha Class Star Wing being imminent, right? It's been already announced by Atomic Mass Games. Are we gonna get more pilots? Because we only have, is it 2? We have 2 named pilots and 2 generics.
Mm-hmm.
So in the only reference point we have right now is what's been spoiled in the YT-24 and what's been spoiled in the TIE Bomber, both of which we have seen no new pilots. We've seen existing pilots with different abilities or different loadouts, or in the case of the YT-24, a standard loadout version of Dash in Scum, right? Availability to other faction. But actual new named pilots, we have not seen any yet. Doesn't mean it's not possible or there right now. They just haven't shown it.
Yeah, I think there's a big difference for the bombers because they already have a good number of pilots. I think they have 3 or 4 uniques. But yeah, we don't see a lot of we only have 2 uniques, and we really only have 1 unique because Karsabi's not that powerful. Yeah, Will, she can say.
Well, he's not terrible, but
sad.
Saddy.
Yeah, probably a little bit better when you could run like bare bones, like slap an ion cannon on him or something. Or even just like a jamming beam because he likes to shoot primary weapons.
Yeah, so I would probably say that maybe we may see some like standard loadouts for new pilots that we've never seen before.
I mean, I'd be surprised if the YT-24 didn't have the Iron Squadron from Rebels.
That's true.
Yeah, for sure. That seems like a missed opportunity if they don't do it.
Yeah. And I don't know how many like massive fans are gonna go nuts if they see Merrick Steele in the gunboat anyway. Like, isn't that what? That's
true.
That was one of the big shticks with the gunboat. It's like it was in the same game Merrick Steele was in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty good with some crit generating torpedoes.
Wow. Yeah, I think it'd be a different ability. Hopefully,
Probably.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Bring
It'd
back
still
the
be
Mangler
good though.
cannon, right? Just reach into that big old vault, grab the Mangler cannon, and
Oh,
just put
Mangler
Merrick in there.
cannon.
If that lets us get some new cannons, so the Adas can have some more fun, and the B-wings can have some more fun.
Nah, they'll slap Alpha class only
Alpha
on
class only. There we go. Yep, make me feel real good.
it. Yep.
Or just certain factions or eras.
I could see that.
Prequels were not technologically advanced enough yet.
No, that's sad. Yeah, with those re-releases, and this is obviously no idea how their production process goes, but I wonder, like, obviously they have certain like licensing things they have to check with Lucasfilm before they do releases, but I wonder if just re-releasing names that they've already gotten approved is easier or takes less time versus like, all right, hey, we have these, but also we want to submit these for consideration. Not sure if that would extend their timeline or not, but that's just like a I wonder.
Darth Vader and the gunboat win. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's make it happen.
That sounds terrifying.
Through Force of Gunboat, let's go.
All right. Well, that's the breakdown for both the Midwest Scrubdown and the top four for Midwest Scrubdown and the Richmond Open. But we do have. Let's go ahead and close with a few questions. Let's go. Will, choose one, and we'll go ahead and talk about it here a little bit.
All right. I want to talk about what Nerf brought up is network calculations versus either essentially Heratani or the biggest competitor of network calculations, Born for this. The ability to share tokens is no longer exclusive to the vultures and hyenas. Even the tri-fighters can get networked calculation as well. Ryan, we've seen it. I think majority of people prefer the independent calculations, especially with the struts. We haven't seen a lot of Siege of Coruscant vultures or hyenas really utilize the network calculations. Why? Let me ask you, what should we be doing with network calculations to get it to compete with like a Born for this or the Rebel token passing?
Besides removing it and adding independent.
Yeah, yeah. What can get me away from independent and get back onto network calculations?
Better costing droids?
But they're already 2 points. Like, what do you want?
What
they
you want,
can't-
1
I mean,
point droid?
Right? Like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I mean,
You see where they are right now. Like it's so
Like,
the real answer is either the stuff that's already pushing the floor, right? Those 2 or 3 point ships that are already pushing how effective they are for their cost. It's mainly the 3-pointers, right? Like the jump from 2 to 3 from like a base vulture or a TIE fighter even to their 3-point counterparts, which is like Moff Gideon or Iden, or there's no 3-point vultures I would ever take right now, and some of the hyenas are even questionable. But like if you just compare it to in Siege of Coruscant, the 3-point V-wings, the 3-point Tauren being kicked back, their value from that 1 point increase way better.
yeah, for sure.
So it's either you take those and nerf them in some capacity, whether it's up price so that the vultures at their cheaper costs are more garnered for that cost, or you toss out everything in Siege of Coruscant for separatists mostly and try again in a future scenario.
I mean,
at least for the SLs. For the, I mean, you could. This wouldn't be crazy, right? Just pick one of the 2 or 3 pit vultures.
Uh huh.
Make them 1 point.
Oh.
Oof, I don't know about that. That's
Or-
maybe.
I don't know.
I have an
like,
alternative for you, Ryan.
pay 3 points, get 2 vultures. I don't know, 1.5.
The BOGO over here
Fire
now.
sale, baby. Let's go.
BOGO on the vultures. I mean, look, let's be real. There aren't people playing vultures. There's persons, like maybe
Right.
2. Like there's the only people are bringing vultures is because there's 2 points left in their list, and they're okay with Iron Assembler existing,
Yeah.
or your Isophane.
True.
So,
I'd love there
Ryan,
to be
what
more.
do you think about giving 3-point vultures a tactical relay slot? It's really the unused tech in that faction.
I do wish tactical relays were more prevalent, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I really want them to exist on a vulture. Like I don't mind the chassis
Okay,
that
well,
they're currently
we'll say
available.
hyena then.
There is one that could take it, I think, right now.
You're 4 points,
32C.
yeah.
but
There's
it's
4 points.
Yeah.
No.
I don't mind that a tactical relay could be on a 4 or 5 point ship, but make that ship better.
Yeah,
Like-
32C is not great
No,
by itself. Yeah.
No. You can
No.
get WAT,
Or-
but WAT
I
can't
don't
bring
know.
the bigger ones.
make an HMP that's 4 points and not 5. Besides Onderon oppressors who aren't pressing anything right now but themselves.
Depressing. Onderon
Yeah.
They
depressing.
are
Onderon
Onderon
regressors.
depressing.
All right.
The list of droid problems continues even after Siege of Coruscant, which is sad. Like, think about this: the Butterbot, aka 311, the guy who gets to
311.
throw a calculator to someone, the one you always want to put independent calculations on. He is 3 points irregular in Siege. He keeps network calculations. He doesn't have any more health. He has like a Discord missile, and he has their strut lock override and the ability where someone dies, they do action thing, whatever the contingency protocol. He's still 3 points, and I go, why is he not 2? He doesn't have independent anymore. He doesn't have the ability to get extra health. He doesn't. He's not a 3-point vulture.
I
That's
think
real bad.
I think
Yeah.
I feel like in the design for Siege of Coruscant, the Separatists were versus all the other. So we're talking about Rebels. I'm talking about Empire and Republic in these standardized loadout packs were the most balanced against the scenario. Because in the
Yes,
scenario,
Yep.
like that contingency protocol is really good in the scenario, but that's that competitively it doesn't hold
Yeah.
because
Now,
you're
there's
not
some
only
stuff from
playing
Siege
against
that-
Siege.
Yeah, there's some stuff from Siege that turned out all right. T80 or DIS T81, even though a 5-point tri-fighter we never thought would have been good, actually has a
the
very
flex.
really good kit. And then
So-
Dooku.
Dion, you played that.
Yep.
The vultures come back.
Yeah.
What was there a limitation on what ships came back for the Separatist?
Nope. You go boom, you come back the next turn. That's it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was.
So maybe that could be a
should just be
contributing
their
factor.
real ability
Yeah.
in standard.
I mean, because it was the idea of like there was some. I'm not remembering everything, but there was some type of limitation where you could only come in a certain part of the board and things like that. But yeah, essentially, you could fly in guns a-blazing and just with reckless abandon because you knew that if it died, it didn't matter because you were part of the what I'm trying to remember an endless legion or something like that. They had some clever wording
That sounds cool.
saying that there was a bunch of them. Like there was just so many.
That's the relay I want then. Just give Tel Tavera's ability to every vulture. So no pinata. They just come back at least once.
¿Por qué no los dos?
I mean, 2 for 1
still-
special, right?
Yeah, you get the point scored, but
No,
you
you
get
can't
to
get the
come back.
points scored because it's going to be confusing. Did you destroy this one or not? Is this one scored upon?
Yeah, but can you imagine how much work you have to do right now?
You
to
get
kill a
half
vulture?
points. Like on Tel, you get half points.
So you just got to kill each one twice, essentially, to get the full
Yeah.
points, which is
You get
what
2
you're saying.
points.
It's easy.
No,
kill 'em.
It's easy.
No problem.
It's
6
easy.
turn
They got
game,
3 health.
7 turns,
No
you got
problem.
this. I believe
Maybe
you.
maybe they just
Uh,
come back with 1 hull like Tel does.
I
Maybe that could
definitely,
be better.
and I think this comes down to I think the Separatist as a faction right now. I think AMG, the way they've structured everything, they've hit theme and the desire to play what people think of as the faction for most factions the game very well. You're bringing Empire, bringing Vader, and good TIE fighters, and whatever else works well. Maybe it's not super thematic in that regard, but you get the base Vader and good TIE fighters. That's Empire, right? And then you look at Rebels. You don't really know what everyone planning on doing with them, besides here's a lot of torpedoes, or here's some A-Wings and Han. Like, you want to bring Luke, you want to bring Han, you want to bring the characters, right? While in Separatist, it's cool to bring characters like Grievous. Awesome. You can still bring Grievous and a bunch of droids. Problem is, the incentive to bring a bunch of droids is not really high right now. Droids aren't great. And I think that's one of the big missed things right now in Separatist is you're trying to dig yourself out such a large hole by trying to build a list that includes the usage of a tactical relay. I feel like the tactical relay being an upgrade only for the Separatist and have it not being featured, or almost dirt cheap levels of you should just bring this because it's part of the faction and how its identity is with droids. That's what I kind of want. At this point, give me like Leia Organa crew value points. Make them 2. Make me want to bring them.
Yeah, could be interesting. Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and close the mailbag. We do have some more questions that we will save for next week. We want to thank you for joining us as we broke down that Richmond Open and Midwest Scrubdown. As we have events popping up, if you want to shoot us over your tournament results, and we'll go ahead and take a look at them. And if we can fit them on the show, why not? We love X-Wing, and might as well take a look and see how maybe your local meta is doing. And of course, the more information you give us, the better. Like, make sure you tell us like where. Don't just send us a tournament and be like, good, here you go. Like, where were you? What part of the world? Things like that. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. You know what we need to do, boys? We need to find a time to talk about the end of the Mandalorian season, because that was interesting, and we got some things to talk about. Not today.
Some of the best cinematography I've seen.
Not today, but we got to make it happen. All right, anyway, not today. We'll talk about it later. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be smart and be safe. Gold Squadron out.